Hey friends, it's Tamara Bennett from Southern Adoornments Decor. I'm live today to paint one of our new fall designs with you guys. Okay, so to get started with this, I think I'm gonna start with my bucket because the reason is we're gonna be doing a little bit of like distressing on the bucket, and I might even add like a couple of faux knot holes to make it look like real wood. And so I need to get a good base going on this first. I think this color, this pebble color, is really similar to the color that's on the example photo, or I might use this fawn color. I'm thinking I might use this fawn. The pebble feels a little muted and I think it's not going to be very bright enough. So this is the fawn color, and it's almost the same color as the MDF. It's just like a basic tan. But we're going to put this in as the background color of our wood, and then we might use like a darker like sable brown or something like that to add a little bit of distressing to it, and then we might do a little bit of like a faux wood grain look. I don't know, we might keep this super simple too. I don't want to get it too complicated because I know this is one that it would be really good for beginners to paint. So if you're brand new to painting door hangers and you haven't painted one yet, this might be a good one for you to start with. It's not going to have a ton of detail on it. I'm grabbing a chip brush. This one's 2 inches wide, and I'm using sable brown. It's just a tiny bit darker than the fawn, and I'm going to kind of go up and down, and we're going to use this for like the wood grain in our bucket. The reason we're doing this first before we do everything else is because that way we can like get outside the lines and it won't matter too much, and we can just paint over it. So it's going to look kind of ugly for a few minutes and kind of messy. Trust the process for sure. So feel free to just kind of streak that on there and do some wood grain, things like that. You can rough up the edges a little if you want to do a little around both edges. I had a little around the bottom, but not on these edges here. And then I'm going to get a round tip brush. Actually, I'm going to get the liner brush that's in my brush set. If you don't have my custom brush set, you might want to grab it because it's got some really great brushes in it. But I'm going to mix a little bit of both colors together, the sable brown and the milk chocolate. And I'm going to kind of use that to kind of create like a little bit of like a wood grain look. So I might just trail it down through here, but then I might like create like a little bit of a knot hole in a couple places. I think I want to go ahead and do the bands on our bucket, and I want to do them like a darker, let's see, this is slate gray. We'll try this. And then we might add in just a little bit of silver or something to kind of make it look more like metal. This is Matte Metallics, flat metallic paint, and this one is more of like a zinc color. It's called charcoal, so I'm thinking that might be kind of a good one to use to do a little bit of a metal look. I'm going to see what this looks like, just kind of streaked on here. Okay, our bucket is pretty much done. That's how quick this is. So at the beginning of this, I said this would be a really good one for like a beginner to paint. So if you haven't painted a door hanger with me before and you want to, sorry for the noise, you can get the template for this one in our shop, and you can trace it on, you know, a wood round that maybe you have bought at Hobby Lobby that's sitting in your closet. You could even trace it, it wouldn't be a door hanger, but you could trace it on a canvas or something if you wanted to paint it on a canvas or on a pillow cover or something like that. You get creative, whatever you want to trace it on. Or you can order the wood blank, which is this piece that I'm painting on now, and it will come with the lines lasered on it like I've got. So you won't have to trace anything or anything like that. You'll just sit down and follow along with this video, and you can paint with me. If you do plan to paint one with me, you can just kind of take notes on the colors that I'm using. For the base, we used fawn and milk chocolate, and then slate gray, and then a metallic charcoal metal paint. And now I'm using canyon orange. Okay, light buttermilk is the color we're going to paint this middle pumpkin with. Okay, I think I'm done with this color. Let me look at my picture real quick. So we have a red leaf, a green leaf, a red leaf, and a sunflower. I think I want to do the sunflower first, and then we'll move on to doing some of the other stuff. I'm going to dip in both my sunset gold and my light buttermilk. I'm dipping in both because I got to increase the opacity of this paint. Okay, this is the milk chocolate color that we used on the bucket earlier. I was gonna go with dark chocolate because it's a little darker, but I was like, you know, in the effort of keeping the supply list and colors simplified, why add another brown when you don't have to? So I'm just using milk chocolate. Okay, I'm going to choose a green to go along with this. So let's take a look at my color chart thing here. So these are the greens that I have. It's really helpful if you color chart all your pick pieces like this, because, you know, I can sit here and kind of look at it next to these and kind of decide what I think is going to look best with it. I kind of am leaning toward this Hauser medium green. As far as like the tone of it, I feel like it kind of goes with the tone of these other colors that I've used. All right, we have all of our background colors painted, and now we can just add some finishing details. Look how great this bucket looks now that it's done. Okay, so for the details on this, we've got some black lines on the bucket, and then on our other pieces, it's kind of like a darker shade of whatever color we just used. So I'm gonna put some black in my palette, and I'm gonna get a round tip brush, or this liner brush. Actually, I keep calling it a round tip. It's technically a liner because of how long the bristles are. And I'm just going to take the black of it and kind of outline the shapes of our bucket. Okay, there's our black lines. It really makes that bucket kind of stand out a little bit more. I'm done with the black now, but I am going to use the black just a tiny bit, putting a little bit on my brush, and I'm just going to kind of mix a little into my red, just a tiny bit to make a darker red. If you don't want to bother with mixing, you could get like deep burgundy or something like that, but this is just creating a darker red, and we're going to use that to create the lines on our leaves. Okay, we did the red. Do you see how that added like a little bit of lines to our red leaves? Now we're going to do the same thing with our orange, but instead of mixing black with my orange, I think I'm going to take a little bit of that milk chocolate brown and mix it with my orange to just make a darker shade. So we're just making like a darker orange. See how that added lines to our pumpkins a little bit? And we did keep it super simple. So if you added shading and stuff, you could definitely dial this up a notch. Let's see. We're going to do the same thing to our sunflower. So I'm going to take some of the brown and put it in my sunset gold here and make a little bit of a deeper color. It almost makes like a true ochre color. So I'm just going to use this to kind of add some detail to our sunflower petals. If you're not comfortable with shading yet, adding lines like this is a really great way to add some detail without adding a lot of like complicated stuff to it. Okay, there's our lines on our sunflower. And now I might add a little bit of detail to my actual inside of my sunflower by mixing black with my milk chocolate. I'm just adding in a few little lines and details to the pumpkin tops. Nothing fancy, just putting lines on it because it felt flat compared to everything else. Everything else had a little bit of detail on it except that. Here we go. Here's how it turned out. I think it turned out super cute, and it looks completely different in this front view versus the back view. So there's the up close of some of the details, and the green was created by mixing a little bit of black with the green that we used. So we didn't add any new colors. We just took colors we already had to mix to make the outline colors. If you want to paint your own pumpkin sunflower bucket, I put the link up in the video description for you to go and grab the template. You can trace it on your own piece of wood or canvas or whatever you want to paint it on, or you can grab the wood blank in our shop and paint right along with me. Thank y'all for joining me today. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube, and I appreciate you guys being here. Thank y'all. Bye.